Hello, hello, this is Michelle, and welcome to another episode of Love, Life, and Energy, where we're going to talk about how to create the right changes in your life, exactly what you need to change so that you can attract a better quality circle of network and potentially your soulmate to come into your life. So stay tuned, you're going to love this. Hey, my name is Michelle Chung and I'm a live manifestation expert, which means I help women manifest their soulmate live in person, offline. And I help career-driven A-type alpha women find their man so they can have the amazing, committed and effortless relationship they deserve. So if you're at that stage where you've been wanting to meet someone, the right man, your soulmate, and manifest him into your life, or just just go to the right places so that you can actually meet him, this is going to help you know what exactly you need to change in your life so that he can come into it very effortlessly and easily, just like it's done for myself and for a lot of my students and for other women I know who have manifested their partners as well. So if you're kind of wondering, okay, I know I need to make a change. I know something needs to change in my life because I can't keep going this way in my life because I keep doing the same things and nothing's working. And as I love to quote the Albert Einstein quote of if you keep doing the same things over and over, expecting different results, then this is the definition of insanity. And I think it's a very interesting quote because it relates to the universal law of cause and effect. And this law, it stumped me for such a long time because I felt like I'd be doing things in my life, even with jobs or with my career, and always feeling like I never got any results. Like I was just doing things and I was just going around in circles. And what I realized was that there was this subconscious resistance that was keeping me from getting the results. And that's something I talk about in other episodes. But in this episode, I wanted to talk about what exactly are the changes that you need to make in your life so that your perfect soulmate, your perfect partner can come into your life easily without having to date, without having to do the dating apps, without having to chase him or, do this hard work of like trying to meet somebody, right? So what I found in my life, whenever I knew I had to make a change, I guess intuitively knew that I just had to listen to my intuition. And this really worked for me well. Like in 2017, when I was single and I was traveling and I just finished a 12-month program of being a digital nomad with a program called Remote Year. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I also have an affiliate link that will hook you up with some amazing community and benefits and discounts for this program. But also that opened up my eyes to, that the whole world was my oyster at the palm of my hand. My soulmate could be anywhere. But then that kind of led to the problem of too much choice. Where am I going to find him if I could find him anywhere in the world? And in 2017, I had been doing just that and still hadn't found him. So even though I was taking the massive action of, dating everywhere that I went, I was on, Tinder and the dating apps, and it was amazing for meeting local people, local men who were very interested in, talking to foreigners, and that was amazing. It was such a great experience. And just to meet, just understanding local culture and, if this culture was going to be right for me, for my relationship as well. But what I realized was that having too much choice as well is kind of like makes things a bit harder as well. But that really following my intuition, just getting quiet. That's why I talk a lot about creating the space and just giving yourself time just to not be busy and just to be, in a contemplative mode, kind of in more like a feminine and internal space where you can just seek your own answers within. This actually helped me make the best decisions I've ever made in my life. So one example I can give in my own life was in 2017 after I'd been traveling and I still hadn't met my soulmate, and I came back to Sydney and I was like, okay, what next? I can come back into my lifestyle in Sydney. That's very easy. I had an apartment that I could just move back into really easily. I'd had it out on Airbnb. I had someone managing it for me. And it was just so easy just to come slip back into my life in Sydney. And but it became like I'd almost never traveled. It's almost like I'd never had those amazing experiences overseas, and that I'd come back into my life and nothing had changed. So I wanted to use that growth that I'd had from traveling, but how was I supposed to do that? So I guess I had my ears open for listening to opportunities. I guess that's one of my strengths as well. Like I'm able to listen for opportunities and know when is the right time to take them. I'm very action oriented like that. Sometimes I take action way too quickly, but that's another topic. But in refining and honing my ability to make decisions and make intuitively led decisions that would always lead to some sort of result or some sort of growth and learning in my life. And so when I came back to Sydney in 2018, and I heard about an opportunity to move to Spain and be a digital nomad, like take my design work and my clients and work online. So I went and did that. And, that was, I guess it was a very courageous and a very huge move, because I didn't know anyone in Spain. I didn't really know Spanish. I'd tried to learn, had a couple of lessons while I was traveling in my remote year, my gap year abroad. But it was really like a very big blank canvas for me to move all the way across the other side of the world, where I didn't know anyone and I didn't know what I was doing there. But what happened was that my intuition was really strong about this, and I was very open to listening to my intuition. So this helped me to, get myself into the mindset and have the courage also to follow my intuition. And that led me to RAF. So it wasn't too long after I'd moved to Barcelona that I did actually meet RAF. And if you've come to my free trainings, I explain a little bit about how I met RAF and how he'd come to my book club, and I'd taken that action to create this space to receive him into my life. And he'd come to my events, and that's where we'd met. So if I hadn't been listening to my intuition and gone to Spain, would not have met him. Perhaps maybe he could have come to Australia, but who knows? The world's a big place, isn't it? So that's one example of following your intuition to make the right changes in your life. Another amazing example was one of my students in my program last year. She came to my workshop and, she had a really strong desire to move to Mexico. And she was also working remotely, and she was able to choose where she wanted to live. And she felt very called to moving to Mexico. And I'd also lived in Mexico in my year in 2017, and I thought it was an amazing place. But this woman, this student was, followed her intuition. And when she arrived, she had met somebody. And because of the training we'd done in the workshop, she used her core values to understand, is this the right guy? And when I was interviewing her, just late last year, I think, she'd said this guy, he was very close to what she'd wanted and what we'd worked on in her manifestation that we'd done in our workshop together. And there was just something not 100% that she knew intuitively that he wasn't the right guy for her. And it was really interesting. I said, what made you realize that? And she said their core values weren't aligned. So that's something I also teach inside my program about aligning with your soulmate, with your core values, because that's when that's the best way to make the right decision, to know if it's the right one or not. Okay. And what happened was that she thought he was, could be her soulmate. But then she met somebody else, I think about just 2 weeks later, and she knew that he was the one. And so these things can happen just so quickly when you have the right tools and you have the right decision-making filters, I suppose. And she followed her intuition to make that change in her life. And so this is something that's really cool that you can do yourself to strengthen your intuition and to know what changes you need to make in your life. there's some other students have done some other things. Like I talk about 4 strategies to meet your soulmate, to create that platform to receive, and to make the right changes in your life so he does come into your life effortlessly and easily. And I talk about that inside my program. But I guess the number one takeaway for this episode is to start listening to your intuition, to make intuitively based decisions. Now, this is something that you might start to see that's being introduced to leadership in companies. It's becoming a more important topic going forward. Using your intuition, which is your internal guidance, which is also like a feminine aspect, isn't it? Like going internal is feminine. It's not necessarily feminine being womanly or girly or something like that. The feminine aspect of your energy also relates to your internal self, and the masculine part relates to your external self or the external actions that you take. So the internal things that you tap into, I won't say the action, maybe because that will be confusing with the masculine, but when you go and focus on the internal, that's the feminine and that's the internal aspect, then you start to strengthen and hone that as a skill as well. And it's something that can be practiced and learned. So this is, I guess, the biggest takeaway from this episode. How do you start listening to your intuition? And so I have an amazing tool for that. It's also inside my program, but it's something you can do that's a very simple tool that you can quickly and easily do to start listening. And once you start listening to your intuition, start taking those actions and start getting those results, your intuition actually starts growing stronger. And your guides, your higher power, your spirit will actually start giving you more clues, because they're kind of like, well, she's taken on some of the advice that we've given her. Let's give her some more. And our highest power always wants us to be loved and to be led into the right direction, to fulfill our life path, to fulfill our purpose in our life. And that's what universe, God, the world wants for us. And so that's how you can take amazing change in your life that will bring your soulmate into your life. All right, hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you want to learn more about how to bring your soulmate into your life, make sure you check out my free training. I'll put the web links in the description below. And any questions or about any other topics that you're interested in learning about, please send me a message, private message on Instagram at Michelle Chung Coach. So have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you next time.